Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our lessons learned with our friend Fabricio. Fabricio, do you want to unmute and tell us how are you today? We gotta get you off mute first.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There we go. There we go. Fabricio, you got no idea how excited I am to be interviewing you today because this has come full circle. When did you start your journey with Praizion?
Like 6 months ago, I joined the program in June, and at that time I just was figuring how I would do to start to really commit to pass the PMI exam. So I saw your videos on YouTube, and at the time I was volunteer in PMI São Paulo here in Brazil. I did participate in few programs, but as a volunteer, not as a commitment to pass the exam. So when I first saw your program, I got that's the guy that's gonna be the one to conduct me to the victory. So I joined the time we run the program. I know it took some time to really do the exam, but here I am, just passed it.
Congrats. I'm so excited. I'm excited because one, you have been on the journey with us, but secondly, you were very instrumental to a movement that we started as a result of your suggesting that we run some study groups as a daily scrum, which is a huge commitment to showing up daily. And I call you the mastermind because you came up with the idea to start it. And honestly, it has helped so many people stay on task, stay on track. And I always felt, yeah, everyone's getting certified, but the mastermind needs to get certified because he came up with
Yeah,
this idea,
yeah.
and there were some of you that were like the pioneers. So there's Carice, our friend who is on, there's Cynthia Devison, who was in the class. There's Kareem, and there's Cece. And I always think of you folks as that class where we started accelerating. So it really is so important to me that everyone from that class gets certified and performs at a high level in the PM space. So I'm really excited. So Fabricio, let's jump in to a few questions I have for you. And the very first question that I have is, why did you want to do the PMP? Who told you about the PMP?
Well, I'm a civil engineer, so I work in the predictive universe. But since I started to work in the field of telecommunications, I started to be familiar of some terms of PMI world, like scheduling, planning, executing kickoff projects. And I always felt like I was behind this world. I need to upscale my knowledge. So I started to search for where does it come from? Yeah, okay, it's PMI, is an institution, is like for me, it's like a university. So that began to make me begin to find myself interested in PMI world.
And the PMI, they're kind of big in Brazil, right? They've got a big Brazil chapter somewhere.
Yeah. They have in São Paulo, have few, the larger cities in Brazil, they have already a chapter. Belo Horizonte, I can't remember right now, but they have larger, Rio de Janeiro, they are present in larger cities in Brazil.
Nice.
A lot of people getting certified here.
That's lovely. So when I come over to Brazil, Fabricio, you're gonna be my co-trainer. when I come over to Brazil. It's gonna happen. It was supposed to have happened, but the pandemic hit. So we'll see.
Yeah. I
We'll
still have
see.
I still have a lot to learn, but something exciting. Now I feel like I'm a project driven. I need projects all the time. So
Wow, wow. Well, I'm gonna put our friends on the spot. I see Chandra just came in. So Carissa and Chandra, do you have any words of encouragement or congratulations that you'd like to publicly declare to the mastermind?
Yeah. Hi, Fabricio. Congratulations to you. Very
Thank
good
you.
to see you completing this. As Phil said, even I was thinking you're the instrumental for this daily scrum. So many of us, like I think 100% will complete this PMP.
Oh,
Thank you so much for your this idea and you and
no.
Cynthia. So Caris was there. We all were like, studying in the beginning. Thank you so much for this idea. And, you helped a lot for so many people.
Yeah, I think that's all about. I realize now that this knowledge is all about not to learn, but how to give output of value to people, how to help people to achieve their dreams, how to help people to run their own projects.
Mhm.
And that's all about. That's we are now in the moments that we ask, what now? What are going to do now that we have certified? We are officially certified to spread the word of this knowledge.
Yeah.
So this idea was for me was the beginning of this mindset, how to share this knowledge, how to help people to achieve their objectives. So I think run projects is a way beyond this, is to achieve, because I told Phil that I don't feel like project management, I feel like life management, because we live our lives on their projects. One day or not, we always have projects to do, maybe on our own lives or for someone else. But that's the spirit, I think. Now I feel like I'm mindset to this idea.
That's lovely. Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you. Hi, Caris.
I
Greece.
could add to what Chandra has said. I think that, we built really great relationships during the class. And I think it was just a brilliant idea to be able to extend that outside of the class to really help each other throughout the whole process. So I thought it was a brilliant idea to help us practice self-organizing, practicing empowering each other. And I think you really brought something to the process that I hope that many others will be able to benefit from. But for you personally, I think, you're always that person that, sits back and is always thinking, but always comes up with the great ideas, and just really happy to see that you have crossed this milestone, and I'm really excited to see what you'll do moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Carissa. Very, very true. He does indeed sit back and soak it in, and he's not just going through the process of learning. He's also thinking. That's one thing I've noticed about Fabricio. It will seem as if he's there just listening, but he's also thinking. So when you came up with this idea, I wasn't surprised, because I know what you want to do is make it practical. You've always been more about the practical, the pragmatism. How can I take this back to work and make things happen with it? So I'm just so delighted and excited. It's like we now know that the system actually works. It's one thing to come out with an idea, but it's another thing to actually be part of the success from that idea. So I'm really, really happy. So Fabricio, you want to share with us the secret sauce? Because I know when we got done with a few of the daily scrums, you went into a black hole. We didn't we didn't see Fabricio on the daily scrums. Like,
Yeah.
oh dear, he's probably been caught up in the school walk, because you're doing a master's degree. So I thought that you'd been swallowed up by that, not knowing that you'd been hatching a plot So tell us, when did you start studying for this final ramp up? Was it 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago? When was it? Tell us.
Believe it or not, I didn't start it like as I should. I just took a little lecture of your immersion book, but really I feel like the knowledge, enough knowledge that I had was already in my head. So because I got deep in Agile at the start of the program, so I don't know. I think I found myself very identified with Agile because I'm like a change driven. I like change, and somehow the information was already in my head. So if I can answer your question, I didn't study at all for these last days. I just took some lecture, but when I started the test at the facility, I felt like comfortable because I felt like a familiar environment. Because I didn't assimilate the knowledge. I took this knowledge to my daily basis. I'm already using some terms in my clients, in my friends, my family. So I incorporate the Agile in my life. So it wasn't that hard. But of course, I didn't kill the test. Okay, let's make sure I didn't kill the test.
What do you mean by kill? A kill is a kill, man. Stop all that. What are you talking about? Stop it. So Fabricio, let's talk about how many hours were you kind of putting in? I know you did little pieces here and there. So about 2 weeks, did you say about 2 weeks to the time is when you really doubled down? And were you putting in, how many hours were you putting in daily?
Let's dissipate these hours in 6 months. Okay.
Okay.
Let's put 1 hour. 1
Okay,
hour.
an hour a day. And you're right, because you were showing up for the class. So you were simulating stuff. And then we started the daily scrums and you attended so many of those. And then you were having these sidebar conversations with other friends like Carice and other people from the class. So I knew you were still thinking about, PMP. And I believe all of that helps the discussion, the constant, being online and seeing what other people were doing. You came for a few lessons learned. So you were definitely still on it, but I applaud you. And I know exactly what you mean by being a multitasker. So you're multitasking life, but you're still keeping your eye on that and you're still doing a master's degree. My goodness, I applaud you. That is really, really awesome. So this is actually a very good lesson for people who are watching who feel, oh, I can never recover from what life has thrown at me. No, you can recover. You can have a plan. And, like Fabricio said, just a 1 hour a day, it can really add value.
Yeah.
And then he talked about the immersion book. He just talked about the immersion. So get immersed and just stay on it. And you'll be amazed at how you'll succeed. So Fabricio, let's talk about where you took the exam. Was that at home? Did you go to a test center?
Test center, yes.
Oh.
I had to drive like 2 hours from my house.
Wow.
And I arrived in São Paulo is very chaotic because I took like a half hour of heavy traffic very early in the morning. Yeah.
Wow.
But I had when I woke up, I was in mindset. That's the very 50% I can tell you. You have to be committed that day. You have to commit. Today I'm gonna pass. So start that day, like every knowledge in your head starts to come up because you are committed. You are mindset. Today is the day, man. I'm gonna do it. And I working. If I didn't do that, I won't pass.
Wow. Wow. You were determined, you were ready for a fight.
Yeah.
So looking at this, Fabricio, let's talk about Agile, Hybrid, Predictive. I always ask people this, what percentage, just rough, of your exam was Agile? Let's do Agile first.
Well, I can tell for sure, like 80% was Agile.
80.
Yeah,
What?
yes.
That is crazy. That is very similar to what Chandra saw, but not like what Carice experienced. Carice, you didn't experience something that high, did you? Yours was hybrid, more hybrid. Am I right? She's
Yes.
thinking. She's thinking, oh, it's been so long. I
No,
can't remember, Phil.
my mouse was in the wrong place, but yeah, mine was I perceived it more high.
Let's adjust a little bit. Let's put 7% Agile, 10% hybrid, and 10% predictive. That's how I feel.
Okay, so if you say 70% agile, then you still got another 10 because that's just 80 and this is 90. So
20% predictive. Sorry.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So let's do this really fun comparison. We don't get a chance to do this too often, but I think this is a very good example for people on the call how you cannot cherry pick what you study. So let's put everyone up here. That's Fabricio's, and then Carice. Sorry to put you on the spot. Do you want to tell us what your titration was?
I would split it evenly between agile, hybrid, agile and predictive, agile, hybrid, predictive.
Okay, so 50% for predictive, obviously. How much to hybrid?
Okay, I think put 30% for predictive, 30% for agile, or maybe 40 agile, and then the rest would be hybrid.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Very
Great.
different. Very different. I felt my Agile all the time for me. 3 ceremonies. Yeah.
It's good. And I already know Chandra's titration. Yours was, you felt it was like 90% agile, didn't you, Chandra? Is that how you felt? How did you feel? Let me ask you to speak for yourself. You tell us. Okay, I'm going to take the law into my own hands. I'm just going to put Chandra's here. Chandra, I know you might not be able to speak right now, so I'm going to be the mouthpiece.
No, I got 90 and 10% hybrid, I can tell.
So we can say probably, so
10,
predictive.
10.
And you said predictive was almost like non-existent, right?
Yeah, it's like hybrid, I think, because the wordings were mixed with the predictive and
Isn't that interesting? Thank you for sharing, everyone. So Fabricio, it sounds like you were well ready. I know Carice was ready, but those things come as a surprise when the exam questioning seems to be so slanted to one side more than the other. And I think this is a brilliant illustration of how people's perception of the exam is going to be different. The experience is going to be different. So someone telling you, oh, just focus on agile, you're going to be good. And then you go in and you get up to 30% predictive and another 30 hybrid. That's why some people find the exam hard, because they put all their eggs in the agile basket, So this is really good comparison. Thank you very much, folks. Let me actually save that. That's you don't see that comparison every day. So Fabricio, tell me, for your exam, when you got in and you saw the first question, did you feel like it was going to be hard, or did you feel, wow, this is easy? How did you feel?
I know my main, to be true, my main concern was about the time, because I'm not a fast reader. I used to take like deep thoughts, and that's why my main concern. But again, when I was like ready with mindset, I was like very comfortable with the questions. I felt I took the 3 pauses for the exam. I took some beer, took some water, and we turned to the test. But I cannot say it was easy, but I was comfortable with the test. I was easy reading, and when I had like 10 minutes to finish, I had 3 questions to review.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not bad.
And but I was like trying to speed questions selections, prioritizing questions.
Mm.
And I saw something, okay, this is gonna take a little bit more time. I passed to the next, and that's what prioritize the question. That's the secret. Yeah.
Gotcha. Did you have a lot of, this is a silly question, but I want the people listening to hear. Did you have a lot of calculations?
Not at all. No, zero.
Zero. Wow.
Calculation.
Fabricio, I know that being an engineer, when you saw ITTOs in PMBOK, you may have thought, oh, I need to read these. Tell us, now you've taken the exam, what advice do you have for people about ITTOs? How should they handle those?
First of all, be familiar with the process groups, the PMBOK. I think TTOs is very important to start get familiar with the concepts, with the process, and you have to get familiar with the terms, with the knowledge. But again, if you easy read the knowledge, if you don't face this like, oh my God, this is a hard thing to learn. No, welcome the knowledge, welcome this information to you, to your life. So that's become to be normal in your life. Okay, don't make this difficult. If this is gonna be useful for your life, for your projects, I think everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be, the information tends to be in your head.
Yeah, and I remember you always wanted a practical view to those ITTOs, and you were always asking questions along those lines. So I'm really glad that it paid off. Would you say that majority or more of your questions were from the process area, or would you say more of them seem to be people? What would you say?
People all the time, people. All the questions related to ceremonies, who is accountability, who's responsible for each ceremony, who should attend to the such some specific situations. People all the time. People all the time.
That's good to know. So would you say that you were well prepared to tackle the ITTOs? And what about the knowledge areas? Did they have a lot of knowledge area language in there? So like when we talk about schedule, cost, scope, was that language big on the exam, or was it less of that kind of language and more on just scenario and then solve the problem? What would you say?
I can't really remember a specific term of scope, schedule, quality. It was really daily basis, people situations.
Wow.
Interactions, handle people, problems that have to solve in the daily basis. But they really didn't put this technical terms in the test.
Wow. So Fabricio, you remember there was a time in the program when I shared this thing called the mindset mantra, and then we went into the people mindset mantra, and then did that kind of along that theme of thinking, right?
Yeah, actually, that was a very good material that I read a few days ago.
Mm.
I remember I took your program, man, is the best one. Everything you give us is helpful, way more helpful than enough. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's good to get the affirmation. So less cramming, less, going crazy over network diagrams and earned value. I mean, did you even get any earned value? Just one single earned value? Did you get one or two? No, he doesn't want to disappoint me. I have a feeling the answer is no already from your body language.
No, you mean you asked me if I had some value after all this process?
Well, earned value like SPI, CPI, CV, SV, all those, the formulas people like to cram. Were there a few of those?
They asked me one time about value performance. SPI was
SPI, okay.
SPI was
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two long
Yeah.
ones, not too many.
Two maximum.
Oh,
Value
wow.
and SPI, yes.
Okay. So Carice says you definitely need to know how to interpret the formula. Maybe not solving these big old like I know, like before PMI changed the exam, I would spend 4 hours training people on earned value, but that doesn't happen anymore because, like Carice said, it's only the formula how to interpret a 0.5 SPI. What does that mean? Or 0.5 CPI. That's probably the most you need for the exam, but not to cram page 267 and all the formulas there is what I'm getting. So let's go to the FAQs, Fabricio, that I normally ask everyone or that people ask. So formulas, we've already established you're not really going to get formula questions. Did you do a brain dump of page 25? Because some people say they still do. I don't think there's value in doing it when you get into the exam. I think it's a waste of time. But did you do any brain dumps at all? Did you write anything down when you got in?
Yes, I remember you all the time reminding us to study every day, page 25.
Yeah.
And I started a little bit late, but I started to every day study the page 25 and try to memorize and write down in the specific study sheet.
Mm.
And I did this like a week before the test.
Mm.
But I feel like it's important to know, but in my specific test, because it was like majority of the questions agile, I didn't use it much, but
Not much.
it was important to use in the questions in the predictive.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's still useful,
Yeah, that's definitely.
Okay, that's good to know. So Fabricio, let's talk about your time management. So the first 60 questions, did you keep to about 75 minutes? Were you on time, or did you use so much time in the first section?
The first section for me was adaptation, because I was measuring my performance with reading, with answer, and I realized that I was too much time reading questions that I would take a little bit more time to answer. So first time was adaptation, second time was performance, and the third time was keeping the performance up.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a good way of looking at it. So you kind of adapt to fit the exam, and then you took all your breaks, and the taking it in the test center, I guess, has its advantages because it takes away the worrying, you having to worry about stuff. Carice, you want to share some of the worries about taking this exam at home, just to give some contrast to what Fabricio is sharing? What should we be aware of if we're taking this test at home?
I think that you have to make sure that your internet connection is definitely secure, If you are concerned about people watching you, maybe this might not be the best, but I do think that, I had some issues taking the exam at home, but generally speaking, I think I think that, if you do end up with difficulties on the exam, getting in touch with the technical support is helpful, because again, they are watching you, they can see what's happening. If a problem comes up, they can hear what you're saying. So it might be a good option for some people, especially if you get anxious around others. It might be good to take the exam at home, but just know that you are being watched, even though you cannot see the person. But they do have a chat and things like that. So I don't want to scare anybody off of taking it at home, because I think it can be a good experience.
Okay, it's good to have some balance. So, but when you took it, did you get any of the proctors telling you, hey, you're going out of frame, you better watch it, like cautioning you and stuff like that?
No, I didn't have those problems. I had others, but it was mostly with
Technical?
with my connection, which I
Gotcha.
would not have been able to control.
Gotcha. It's always good to put things in perspective. I want to read a few things that came in from our friends here who are PMP. So Chandra says the page 25 thing, doing a brain dump in the exam, like I said, it's a waste of time. She's reaffirming that. And you're right. It could affect your focus if you're trying to do a brain dump and you forget. Oh, that will kind of mess you up. So you have a good point there. I never thought of it like that, Chandra. Carice says you definitely need to know the process groups, otherwise you'll not know where you are. So you got to remember, Carice had some pretty hybrid stuff and predictive as well. So this is a very good way in, and thank you for calling. It's always good to be called back, to be present and mindful of the fact that exams are different. So page 25 may seem to be very low value in some people's exams, but in other people's exams, just knowing the whole narrative and the flow of page 25 could be a lifesaver. So Carice says, without that, you cannot imagine what might be the source of the problem for the stakeholder, or you may not be able to know what resources are available to you. Very, very good way in there. So thank you for that. Great stuff. So Fabricio, in closing, because we're almost at the end of the slide deck, in closing, the typical question we ask our friends is, what would you do differently? Now that you've been through this whole journey, you're now at the end, you're now looking back at your journey, what would you do differently, if anything?
I think it depends of the person, because when you work by yourself like me, you have to plan a lot of stuff to do. But if you just have your time on a regular basis, like you have your job, you have the time to work, you have the time to study, I would say you have to plan, commit. For me, I had to postpone many times the test, because I had some personal issues, some personal projects, and I think you have to schedule the test and commit. As sooner you do, you get prepared, as soon you be ready, as soon you be released.
Yeah.
But the best answer is to commit. Working commitment. Yeah.
Commit. So thank you for that, for weighing in. And I think that will help a lot of people who are still on the fence. Like, I have to be honest, I have some students that have been studying to take these exams for going to 3-4 years now. Some of them are going into year 5. That almost troubles me, because I'm like, when are you going to jump off the ledge? It's not even as though you've taken it and not succeeded. You're just waiting for the perfect moment. For 5 years, seriously, So schedule it and just stick to it, commit. And like Fabricio said, the mindset is big.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes you are already ready to do, but we don't know. So
I think one of the things that all of us have probably observed from Fabricio is his consistency. So
Mm.
even when he
Yeah.
was busy, he always made it a point, like today I'm sitting with my coffee, and when I'm drinking my coffee, I'm going to engage with this PMP thing.
Yeah.
Or even as much as, he had to carve out things for other aspects of his life, it was always, let me do something. Even if it is that 25 question quiz Phil put out, let me do that. Even if he didn't put out one recently, let me do it over. So he was always doing that to see how he could improve, even if it's a half hour a day that he had alone. And then the other thing I think was helpful was he always would remind the group that this was not beyond us. So we could always count on him to kind of refocus us and not get discouraged, because we are going to get there. And as you can see, he has also crossed the bridge.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carice. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Chandra says on a daily basis, at least 10 questions and fill the gaps. That's good. I mean, it all adds up. It may look like nothing is happening, but it's all adding up. Yeah. Any questions for our guru? Those of you on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Nicole from YouTube, who is part of this group, who was part of the Daily Scrums. You might remember Nicole from way back. She sends her congrats via YouTube. Does anyone have any questions for the mastermind? Any questions? Just
Yes.
type them in.
What kind of pizza? What kind of pizza gets you through?
It was amazing to get to know all you guys. It was an amazing journey. I always found myself a way to take this ahead and maybe form some groups, some synergy to keep the education, keep updates, keep the group up to date, and maybe come up with some value to people that come into the PMI world. So I
Lovely.
think that's a good pizza to start.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Chandra says you're the founder of Praision's Daily Scrum Meetings, the mastermind. Whenever I think of Fabricio, I think of a mastermind just sitting down in the background, just thinking of all the new ideas to throw out. So keep doing that. You get any new ideas, they're always welcome, please.
The truth is that you won't have good ideas when you are surrounded with good people, with good minds. So that's why I had some idea. If you guys wasn't around, I surely would have some good ideas. So that's synergy.
It's all about the synergy. It's all about the synergy. You got it. So you got the idea for the daily scrums, and then, it kind of organically morphed into our Google groups, which Cynthia started. And it's really helped people maintain focus, because PMP can be a very lonely road. And I want to encourage you, whenever you can, if you can, reach out to people who are struggling, because there are people still struggling on this exam. And I know that peer-to-peer accountability is even more valuable in a lot of instances than teacher to student accountability for many of us. Many of us, we gravitate towards that good peer pressure more than a teacher saying, you got to study, So I'm really grateful for the synergies that have been developed over the past number of months. And it's a brilliant end of the year gift.
Yeah.
Really. I was not expecting it, Fabricio. I mean, I thought, okay, he's studying, he's in his college program, and probably next year. And I just left it. I didn't think anything more of it. I said, he's got the tools, he knows what to do, and we'll just continue when he can come back. But then I'm like, what? I look at my LinkedIn, I see, I'm like, no, I have to open this image. I have to, because I saw I did it, and I'm like, no. And then what? He actually did it. Oh my gosh, it made my day. So thank you.
Thank you. I thank you guys. Thank you very much.
I
Thank
think
you so
people should just know that, coming to the daily scrum, if that day you were very busy and you didn't get a chance to do anything, still go. There are lots of people who are wondering where you are and how you are on your journey, and just being able to hear other people's thoughts and getting that reassurance that you're not alone when it comes to trying to figure things out is helpful. So if it's that 15 minutes of your day that you're dedicating to PMP, just to kind of be in the universe, as they say, come.
Absolutely, Carice. That's a very good point. Thank you for sharing that. It's part of that commitment, The great
Yeah.
Robert Cialdini, he showed that tiny little increments of commitment leads to massive, bigger commitment. So those tiny little showing up, it's going to lead to you saying, you know what, I'm just going to take the exam. It's enough. I'm going to do it. So good stuff.
And thank you, Phil, for enhance these moments where you bring up when someone passed the exam, you enhance, you show the people that, because that every time I saw somebody passing, that like put me up
Wow.
to again to the direction. Well, that's very important to do what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I try. And today, I know it's kind of early. That's why we don't have so many people on the call. But this is early for you, Fabricio. It's 10 o'clock in the morning where you are, 1 o'clock where I am. But our friends showed up, on the East Coast equally early. So this is like 9. So Carice and Chandra got on these calls at 9 just to
Right.
give you some support. Or 8. Is it 8? You got on at 8. Yeah, at 8.
9:15.
Wow.
Probably
Oh, it's
8.
9:15. It's 9 on the East Coast right now. So that means you jumped in here around 8 something. And
I
you're
have to say-
PMP.
I'm sorry. I have to say that I saw many questions about remote management, remote teams. There's a lot of questions about this.
There you go. Yeah. Virtual teams and so on. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, 9:15 for Carice. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful. Thank you all very much. Those of you on YouTube, we always get the question. I don't do this enough because that's not the aim of these calls. But for people who are wondering, but how do I sign up for that program? It's projectmanagementmasterclass.com, and it's going to take you to our website. And you'll be able to sign up for the next one. The next one is on January 7th. So if you go to projectmanagementmasterclass.com, there it is. You can be part of this movement. You can attend the course that Fabricio attended.
Yeah.
It's going to help you. It's beyond just getting certified. This is an association for life. So we'll always be friends beyond getting PMP certified once you're done. So going down to that site, watch the intro video, glean the knowledge you want. Again, projectmanagementmasterclass.com. And you'll be glad you did. So thank you, everyone. We're signing off. We'll be hopping off the YouTube link, and we'll have the after party now.